All right, we have another quick hit. This is a discussion about Abrego Garcia, who was sent to El Salvador, and the Supreme Court has ruled unanimously that if El Salvador wants to send him back, that the United States has to facilitate him coming back. Remember to like and subscribe. Let's listen in on the White House discussion, and then we'll talk about it.
Which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for
Supreme Court is asking to.
Is that
What was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Usted lo
President
liberaría,
Bukele,
Presidente
what is your,
Bukele?
can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
Well, this is a pretty good example of the media trying to create a situation in which it looks like someone who was wrongfully deported must be coming back. He is, as Stephen Miller said there in that clip that you saw, he is a citizen of El Salvador. And for us to be able to bring him back, we'd have to be given him by the country of El Salvador. And there you have the El Salvadoran president saying, well, I'm not going to smuggle him back into the United States. Whether he's truly a member of MS-13 or not, that's probably an open question. But the fact is, he was here illegally. Now, I think that there was a claim that he was here under asylum, and I think that, but that didn't, the Supreme Court didn't rule on that. They ruled that if the El Salvadoran government provided him, that the United States would be required to provide transportation to get him back to the United States. And as Stephen Miller said, Pam Bondi says that, well, if he came back, he would then be deported a second time. So Jeffrey Toobin on CNN, just as an interesting side note, he's the legal analyst for CNN, said he doesn't think that this guy's ever coming back to the United States. I tend to believe that that's true. And what you're going to see more and more is as people are deported, you're going to see the mainstream media and these activist organizations, these NGOs that have facilitated all of this illegal immigration over the last 4 years, start to try to pick stories out to highlight, to try to make it look like this is a very nefarious process. Is it going to, will the administration get it wrong sometimes? Probably. And hopefully they'll correct any actual egregious mistake they make. In this case, I'm not yet convinced that it's an egregious mistake. And when you have the president of El Salvador saying, no, we're not going to send him back, we're not going to smuggle him back, I think that tells you everything you need to know about whether he is actually deserving of an asylum claim here in the United States. So more to come.